All right, my watch list for Monday. It's a pretty small list. We'll find more stuff to trade after we get some volume moves on Monday. See, generally when I make a watch list for the following day, I'm a day trader, but I look at daily charts and recent action to find stocks that should give a nice move one of these days. And so if you have them on watch, you can get some nice trades. But we're coming off a holiday week like we are, and you look at your scanners over a weekend like this, you have very few stocks that have shown recent volume and movement because the market's been so dead. Because of the holidays. But still, I don't hate this list here. Starting with FireEye, F-E-Y-E. Let me try to get a trend line going here just to show you, connecting recent highs. You can see that, let's put that right about there. It is basically trying to break this. It really broke this trend line, a little bit about a week ago, and it's consolidating nicely since, right? And so over this consolidation, this one could get a nice move higher. It's in the cybersecurity space with the whole North Korea thing. This is a space to watch, and not on my list, but I always try to watch CYBR if I'm watching something like a FireEye. So there's another one to watch in that space. So if FEYE breaks out and I miss it, may get a second chance in something like a CYBR. BCEI has the name Energy in its name, so of course it's a really beaten up stock, but a nice bounce over the past week or so and consolidating near those highs. So if you switch to like 30-minute candles, you can kind of see a nice consolidation here. Generally, I try to write down some prices or draw a line. I've got a smaller version of this BCEI chart on one of my other monitors, and I put lines at these prices so I can visually see if the market opens, if we're breaking resistance without having to look up exact prices, right? So 24.15 would be a break of Friday's high, and then just to the left, a couple days before that, 24.33 would be a break of the most recent high, which would be right here. So those are two areas, two numbers that are interesting if it breaks above them. Also put CUBA on watch. Crazy move here from 7 to 15, and now two pretty good days down, so it goes on my bounce watch list. All right. The only thing I'm really looking for, if we get a gap down, I might buy a break if it's early 2 or 5 minute high. But if not, what I'd like to see is a consolidation for an hour or two and then a break to the upside. Having something like a CUBA on watch can give you a nice day trade. So that's really where it is. It's just on watch for specific type of setup. And if I don't get that, I won't really mess with CUBA. Solars have been kind of hot the last week or so, and so I'm watching VSLR. You can see it's a newer issue. Putting in lower high, lower high, lower high, but it's also starting to put in some higher lows now. And so you've got pretty clearly defined range that it's in from the last week or so. These aren't perfect, but you can see the range there. Okay, so over this high, which is 950, and then you also have Friday's high, which had a 948. So I'm just giving this not arbitrary, but 952-ish. If you get over this recent consolidation, could make a move to 10, and you can see you've also got a clearly defined high here of 1015. So if we get over 950, so 952 is where I'm looking to enter this one long for a day trade. You could make a move to 10, and then you could also argue that if you get through 10.15, you could have a big move. So I like VSLR. It's a pretty nice setup. 952 is the area where I'll be looking to go long. Now, let me give you a caveat on that. Whenever I have a trigger price on something, it's not etched in stone for me because, and just to give you one example, VSLR might, the whole market or solars might gap down for some reason, and it might open at 890. Okay, so then if it runs straight up to 952, I'm not going to go in because it will have just run 60 cents. So there's just one scenario where a good example of why that number is relevant, but it's not etched in stone. I don't know how the market or how VSLR are going to trade on Monday morning. So somebody asked me once, why don't you just set buy stop orders at these prices? And there's my answer, okay, because I don't know how it's going to trade the next day. So I manage everything in a real-time basis, if you will. And then XONE, I want to have on watch. This is a 3D printer stock. It already made a really big move on Friday from the low of 15.22 all the way up to 18. But, we may get a follow-through day. And this one has like 40+% of the float is short. So this one can make nice moves at times. It it was riding DDD's coattails on Friday, and DDD looks good for higher prices. You put in a higher low here, nice volume on Friday, kind of breaking recent resistance. So the 3D printer stocks are ones to watch. VJET also comes to mind. SSYS also comes to mind. So that's a space to watch. I generally default to XONE if that space is moving because it's got a huge short position. So you can get really nice moves on that one. As a matter of fact, before I left on Friday, I told the guys in chat, whoever was left, because at this point on Friday, Friday after Christmas, and then you got a weekend following, so I just wasn't that anxious to trade anything or call anything and get anybody in trouble because there was no volume in the market. But I did say, hey guys, before I leave, here's one that I like as a potential trade, but I'm leaving early. I'm not going to trade the afternoon. I said I like XONE over 1720 for the reasons I just gave you guys. That space was strong, and this one has a lot of shorts in it. So I said over 1720, worst case stop probably below 17. And lo and behold, I don't know if anybody got it. It ended up closing at 18. And when it broke that 1720, it went immediately to 1770. So you can see why I look to this one. It gives really nice moves at times and closed at the high of the day. I'll find out Monday when I log into chat if anyone took that trade or not. There weren't too many people hanging around because it wasn't that prudent to trade. So, but there's a good example on an intraday basis why I watch XONE. And then I'm going to put DGLY back on watch again. It definitely has a seller up here. This was the stock I had on my stock to watch for Friday. And Friday, it did take off and hit that 1625 and went straight almost to 17. It went to 1688. So maybe some of you who saw that video were able to jump in this thing and make a quick trade. It just happened really quick, so I never gave a trigger and stop in chat. It just happened too quickly. And I was a little hesitant on a Friday after Christmas to call anything, and this one just, so if you got a trade in that, congrats. If not, I don't teach people to chase, but I've got to have DGLY back on watch again. Got to, because if this thing ever gets through this resistance around that 17 area, and it may happen Monday because volume should come back in a little bit, and the whole body camera theme on police officers is not going away. So this is definitely one to watch. Definitely has a seller up here, but if there's enough volume, if there's a story that comes out about a big police department going to digital cameras, anything like that, this one could really rip. So I like to have DGLY on watch pretty much every day because of the news behind it. All right. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, and we'll see you guys on Monday.